The Namekians were always teased for the longest time to have come from the demon realm. This episode basically confirmed that a long time speculation.
But they're also thinking that the Ozaru is also part of the whole demon too, because they have pointy ears.
Oh, when they turn into great apes.
Yeah, when they turn into great apes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you peeped that.
I did not peep that. Yeah. Oh shit!
Oh, that's that good.
Yo, it's your boys, Brother Ooch. It's me, and we are the Full Power Podcast. Woo! Let's go! Come on now, back again once again. What's happening, folks? We are here, we are now, and we're kind of live. Obviously, if you're in the studio, then you're going to feel like we're live, but you're not. So anyways, welcome back for another edition of the Full Power Podcast. And in case you missed out last week, if you're wondering where we were, I would highly, respectfully suggest that you pay more attention to our socials, because we streamed Sparking Zero last week in place of new episodes across the board. So Patreon didn't even get any new things. You guys on the YouTube or Spotify, wherever you might be listening to us, didn't get any on the new things. Because, like I said, Sparking Zero was happening that week, as well as Dragon Ball Daima, which I'm sure we're going to get into. So, Brother Uch, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm alright. It was a pretty long day, I guess. You know, work, and then went to school, had an exam, and then had class still because the motherfucker wanted to teach.
he felt obligated that he had to teach.
Like,
I like that.
It was the first dude. Well, actually, yeah, no, it's the first professor I've ever had that gives us an exam for like 75 minutes, and then the next hours is still like he's teaching.
That's actually crazy. I've never heard of that. Yeah, that should be a crime.
He's wild.
That should actually be a criminal. Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
It really doesn't.
Wow,
that's, is what it is.
Couldn't be me, guys.
I could have left, but I decided to stay, be a good student, I guess.
Oh, well, yeah, good for you. That's definitely dingable and all that great stuff. But all right, yeah. Other than that, I mean, I just came back, obviously, from Connecticut. I was gone all weekend. East Coast Throwdown. For those that were paying attention to my socials, I was doing a bunch of commentary work for Power Rangers, for Street Fighter 2, for Street Fighter 3, and for Sparking Zero. Funny enough, Sparking Zero had representation at this event, and there's some things that I guess I could get into just as a little warm-up as far as that game is concerned. I think it has all the potential to just go past whatever people's expectations are on a competitive level.
Yeah, I mean, I only played it once, but I mean, I've been seeing like little clips here and there, like on Twitter and stuff, like about, well, not even about, but like how I guess certain combos or the movement or like, I guess, yeah, like certain combos, it can be competitive in a sense, but I still don't know how I feel about it. In that sense,
I could tell you right now, just off of the top 8. So I don't at the time of this, I honestly don't even remember how many entrants it had. But the point is, the top 8 competitors, they were doing shit that I was just like, wow. This is a true Dragon Ball fighting game. Like, 3D has to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though Dragon Ball FighterZ takes a more traditional approach, even with being like a versus kind of game where it's like 3v3, but on a 2D plane, and you like active switching and all that kind of stuff. Dude, Sparking Zero, high-level play is ridiculous. It's like you're watching an episode of a crazy fight, or sometimes it could even be crazier than that. So it's like, you got people, like, the thing is, it's like, Sparking Zero is not the kind of game where you can just get away with mashing shit. Those that really take the time to learn and understand the mechanics and all the tech that's involved, it's actually impressive because the timing, that's the thing, the skill gap, it's like entry level, you can pick it up, fucking hit buttons, have fun with your friends. But when you really want to get it going, you can. And like
fucking sweat.
As long as as long as you have meter, as long as all that shit's in place, as long as it's all intact, straight up, you can quite literally just constantly parry, vanish, like constant instant transmission type back and forth.
I was seeing some crazy not even parries, but like the countered instant transmission.
It'll be like choom, choom,
yeah,
choom,
like that shit was constant. I was like, bro, what the fuck?
That's what I'm saying.
This shit never runs out.
That's what I'm saying. Like it makes it, and the crowd gets excited. Like it's something that it's not even just a game for sweaty people. It's a very fun game to even watch. So I said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. I 100% have faith and belief that this game may end up being a featured game at EVO, which is the biggest tournament for fighting games. And I think that game would make history because I can't recall any EVO in the past to feature a game in that style, a 3D arena fighter, you know? And I'm all for it. And this comes a long way. I feel like maybe almost a year ago, right here on this podcast, we literally were talking about how everybody should have low expectations, and based on like very toxic practices that a lot of companies have, that to not expect much out of this. You know, don't expect a heavy roster. Expect something around 50 characters, even less. And now they're gonna try to get everybody through DLC. Quite the opposite.
Yeah.
Quite the opposite. And like, I am so happy to be wrong, and I am so happy to feel how I feel now, rather than be right. And then it's just like, okay, well, we can move on. But the other side note, in regards to Sparking Zero, before we can completely move on, that I want to talk about, is that I don't know what happened, but between the time that we played on stream for the folks here on the YouTube channel, it ran fine, right? Like we were running it, we were playing against each other, no lag, no nothing. It was running at 60, and we're streaming. So tell me how I've been trying to play it on Twitch, and it's chugging.
Yeah.
It's at 30, and I'm only playing like the story mode.
That's weird.
It doesn't make any sense. And then I even went into like a regular battle against CPU, chugging, 30 frames. I'm like, the fuck is going on? So I actually updated. I noticed there was an update with my graphics card, so I updated that. Hopefully, let's see if that fixes it. But again, this brings me back to the whole PC gaming shit. Ain't it? Especially if you're not one that has, you know, all the high-tech stuff and they can afford a high-end PC or afford a dual PC setup. Like, I don't got that shit.
Did you get it on the P5?
Yeah. Oh, another side note to that. I'm still waiting on my fucking PlayStation copy.
I don't know why you did that to yourself.
So here's the thing.
Digital, you just gotta do digital.
I know, but see, I like collecting my stuff. I like having it in my hand.
I haven't had a hard copy.
See,
I don't know.
I know.
Long.
I know it's very convenient, and I understand the incentive behind getting digital games. But the thing that I will always keep myself buying most of the games that I want physical is the possibility that later on in life you cannot re-download that or have access to it, because when you get a game digitally, you don't own it. You own a license. You're basically borrowing it until they decide they're gonna not have it available on their online store.
Mm-hmm.
And this is already a thing. Like, I know obviously we don't play anything on 3DS or on PlayStation, like PSP or Vita or anything like that no more. But like, if I'm not mistaken, those stores, those eShops, shut down. 360 store shut down. Obviously, those are older things, but it's like if people ever want to relive something that's retro now, unless they have that shit downloaded and they never deleted it, unless they own a disc, it's gone forever. You understand that? So, like, and Nintendo, they'll be the first ones to be like, oh, sorry. It's like, you bought our game digital, sucks. In like a few generations when they decide to take the eShop down for the Switch.
I mean, I've never really encountered that problem.
Yeah,
like,
you
like,
haven't,
like
not yet.
I don't know. I mean, normally, because I don't really even go back to old games.
I
so,
know.
Like, it's
well,
not
yeah.
even a problem for me.
For
like,
you, no, it's not. But I'm talking about for someone like me, for anyone else that like ever has like an itch to go and scratch to play some old shit, you know?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, then I'm sure some people might say, oh, but like that's, you know, whatever, if they do a remake or whatever. And again, they're going to just try to resell it to you anyway. So they could just keep making money off of the same stuff when it's like, technically you already have a copy or whatever. So it's like, I like having a physical collection that I can have in my hand. I can display it on a shelf. To me, that's like meaningful. For you, not so much. It's like what, and that's fine. Like, and trust me, I get the convenience out of digital because I actually have a lot of digital Switch games. And then unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but like, so like I'm a Capcom creator. So Capcom gives me games. But guess what? They don't give me physical games. They give me codes so that I download them. And so as long as I have them downloaded, then I'm chilling.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't have to repeat myself. So let's get right into the nitty-gritty of what we got going on today. So as always, if you want to see more of us, not just on Fridays, if you're trying to see us during your week on multiple occasions, on Fridays, on Mondays, and then whenever you have time to decide to check us out and all the extra content that we have to offer, make sure you're hitting up that patreon.com/Full Power Podcast to make sure that y'all are getting the best quality possible out of us. And obviously it goes a long way. You're supporting us, you're supporting the studio, you're supporting the content, and you're potentially getting your name shouted out at the end of these episodes. Per usual. And then for anyone else, whether you're listening on Spotify, on Apple, Google, whatever, you're watching on YouTube, make sure you guys are leaving a comment, leaving a review, liking these episodes, and really engaging with us, because that also helps, and, you know, it pushes the podcast up in other people's feeds and whatnot. So the usual stuff. So moving along, so interesting news. So I don't know if you've ever heard of the Harvey Awards Hall of Fame. This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
It's like Steve Harvey.
Damn. Okay, that's actually kind of funny, but no. So the for those that don't know, the Harvey Awards Hall of Fame, I have this little excerpt right in front of me. So I'll just read it verbatim. The Hall of Fame inductions and winners of this year's Harvey Awards will take place on October 18th, 2024 at New York Comic-Con. The annual Harvey Awards was established in 1988 to honor outstanding work in comics and sequential art. Okay? And it has been hosted at New York Comic-Con since 2017. Now, I bring this up. Why? Because our legend, our GOAT, Akira Toriyama, is being inducted into this Hall of Fame.
Nice.
So, of course, in natural fashion, what the hell would we be not at least acknowledging that and mentioning it on this podcast? Because, you know, Toriyama has effectively been a positive influence on all of our lives. And, I mean, he created Dragon Ball. So that is basically all you really need for us to say. But I think it's cool that they're inducting him into a Hall of Fame. And it seems like it's a prestigious, you know, title to have, especially considering that it's been going on since the 80s. Mm-hmm. It's funny how it took him this long to get inducted. There's a lot of other like mangaka and all these other things that are like in there as well. But yeah, I wanted to shout that out because, dude, it's Toriyama. So
of course,
I do have a Kai update. Okay, this is not nothing too crazy. But Kai texted me today, and he sent me a screenshot, essentially proving that. And I don't know if you remember this conversation we had forever ago on this podcast, but remember when I mentioned and I said how I'm pretty sure the word brolic comes from Broly.
Okay.
Right? Well, apparently that's true.
Really?
Yes. He actually sent me a screenshot, and he was like, yeah, dude, we were right. Like, and I'll pull it up, and I'll literally read exactly what the screenshot said. So this is within this thing called etymology. I don't know what that means, but it's okay.
Okay.
So it's reportedly coined in reference to the extremely muscular character Broly from the Dragon Ball anime franchise. With the suffix "ik," Broly is a transliteration of the Japanese burori, itself coined as a pun on the English broccoli, a theme used in the naming of members of the fictional Saiyan alien species. So example, Vegeta, vegetable, right? So on and so forth. So we already knew that Broly comes from broccoli. Like,
Yeah.
that's the pun, right? But the fact that, like, people started saying the word brolic so that it was used to describe others that were, like, jacked. And I always wondered, like, it has to. It can't be a coincidence. It has to be a direct reference to Broly. Turns out it is. So shout outs to us.
Sure.
We fucking called it. We talked about it. We mentioned it. So guys, I know that I didn't ask any questions of the day, and that there's a good reason. Because we have Daima to talk about. All right? So you watched it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you?
I did too.
Okay.
I did a reaction while I was out. So, funny enough, by the way, people were asking where the fuck you were. Which I figured would happen, but
Well, maybe episode 2.
well, yeah, maybe we'll see.
Who knows?
We'll see. But yes, the schedule, like, he works and I'm off, and the episode comes out at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. Yeah. So it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would be late.
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be tough, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, so obviously by the time this comes out, episode 2 will have already dropped. So I got to figure out, because I do also want to do some sort of like live stream post episode discussion with the viewers, with the fans. I don't know when or how I can get that to work. But it's a thought, and I figured I'd put it out there. But yeah, so Dragon Ball Daima. So I don't know if I'm gonna just go like moment by moment. But first, I guess I just want to turn it to you and just ask you, like, how did you feel about the episode overall?
I mean, it wasn't bad. Like, it wasn't bad. I feel like for me personally, like, the animation carries most of the oomph to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So there's that. So it made it enjoyable to kind of watch and stuff like that in a way. As far as the story is concerned, it's not bad either, I guess, for what it is. Like, I'm not trying to expect much, but if they hit us with a little surprise here and there, or like something cool, then I'm for it.
Yeah.
Just because this is all we have right now. So
facts.
just working with what we got at this point. But it wasn't like a terrible intro episode 1. So I'm kind of, I guess, looking forward to episode 2 just to see like where the story's going to progress and stuff like that.
Right.
Because yeah, like I'm like very like in the middle, like in between on like how I feel about it right now.
Yeah.
But like it was like certain moments were very cool, like all the flashbacks and stuff like that were like re-updated, reanimated and shit. Like that's always cool to see.
Yes.
Although that wasn't like necessarily the main focus, but it was cool to see. And then I mean, obviously now they're in the whole demon realm shit, so that's where the story is probably going to progress into. We'll probably know more in episode 2, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not too. It's not too bad. It's not too bad right now.
Okay, I will take that, especially coming from you, because originally, let's not forget, you were against this show.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Okay. All right, well, that's good. So before I go into my thoughts, I do have I asked this poll on both my channel and the Full Power Podcast channel. Now, as far as the amount of votes, because it was like an image poll, there was like 59 votes as far as the amount of people that responded to the poll and all that
in total.
Yeah, on our channel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up. Just so that I can see for sure. Yeah, so 59 people voted. Okay, and I asked on both accounts, without spoiling, what did you think of the first episode of Dragon Ball Daima? Okay. So the options were, it was awesome, it was good, it wasn't that good, I didn't like it. 59% on the Full Power Podcast channel voted that it was awesome. Okay. 32% said it was good.
Yeah, I'd probably be in 32.
Okay, that's fair. 5% said it wasn't that good. So that's very low. And then 3% said that you didn't like it. So, I mean, like, yeah, like, and again, that's totally fine. I think there's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like when you look at a poll like this, out of 59 people that actually responded to this, that saw it on our channel, a lot of it has good praise. So obviously the higher end is that it was in the good to awesome echelon.
Yeah.
Now, some thoughts I'm going to read really quick. So this person says they did some remixing on the earrings again, and they did have Mr. Popo looking like the Help. I don't know what they meant by the Help.
Yeah, I don't know what they meant by that.
But
I know he was trying to offer them motherfuckers some juice.
That was fucking funny.
That was wild.
I was laughing at that part. I'm not gonna lie.
Yo,
I'm not even gonna lie. I was laughing at that part. That shit had me rolling. This other person said, "Oh yeah, well, really quick before I move on, yeah, the earrings. It's gonna until we see how Daima plays out, it's gonna be a little wonky, because obviously we have knowledge of the future, from where this takes place, because we know additional rules that the Potara have that obviously were made up when they were doing Super. This wasn't thought. I guarantee you, this was not thought out when Toriyama was writing it in Z. But the fact remains is that in Battle of Gods, Kibito Kai is Kibito Kai, but this takes place before. So at some point, like they explained in episode 1, Kibito and Supreme Kai, they split. They wanted to see, after seeing how Goku and Vegeta split, they're like, oh, let's see if it works for us. And they proved through that diffusion that Majin Buu's gases have some sort of magic ability to undo a Potara fusion. Now, at this point in time, again, reminder, we don't know, we're not supposed to know that when mortals use it, that's how they have a time limit. But if you're a god, you're not supposed to have a time limit, right? So essentially the whole remixing thing, I will say that I would not be surprised if at some point towards the end of Daima, they end up, refusing again, just so that it lines up with what happens in Battle of Gods, and so on and so forth.
Maybe.
Yeah. So this person says, overall, it was amazing. I have one small complaint. They did Mr. Popo dirty. Mr. Popo absolutely could have attempted to handle the situation, and we know he could have, because he was able to hold his own against Super Saiyan Trunks and Super Saiyan Goten in Dragon Ball Z. You know, I don't remember that.
I really don't either.
I honestly,
honest.
I swear to God, I don't remember him getting involved with hands in the slightest. I remember Mr. Popo as the guy being, call me. That's it. That's it. I only remember him doing that.
Yeah.
I like, and no disrespect to Mr. Popo, but yeah, yeah. So there's that. So this next person says they didn't even know it dropped. Thanks, I'm gonna watch it right now. Bet. You're welcome.
Nice.
The first episode was pretty exciting. Next person says was good, visually stunning. A lot of questions though. Yes, a very heavy emphasis on a lot of questions, which I'm sure we're gonna get into. So that was from the podcast channel. Now I'm gonna give you guys the percentage and the votes and all that on my channel, right? So again, reminder, the Full Power Podcast channel had 59 votes, right? My shit had 417.
Wow.
Okay?
Tough.
Yeah. So mine had 417, and I asked the exact same question. Without spoiling, what did you think of the first episode of Dragon Ball Daima? 72% voted it was awesome. Okay? 21%. Now, look at that gap. 21% said it was okay.
Yeah.
3% thought it wasn't that good. 5% said they didn't like it. So that's an interesting metric because the 5 to the 3%, there was more people that said that they didn't like it over that it just wasn't good, which is like interesting, right? So a few responses out of this poll. So this person says it was awesome. The art and animation was way above Super 2. Piccolo Daimao is about to enter the room. Ooh, I like that comment. So, all right, so about that, I guess we could talk about it real quick. So, the Namekians were always teased for the longest time to have come from the demon realm. This episode basically confirmed that, a long time speculation.
But they're also thinking that the Ozaru is also part of the whole demon shit too, because they have pointy ears. When they
turn into great apes.
Yeah, when they turn into great apes. I don't know if you peeped that.
I did not peep that. Yeah. Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, no. But there is one thing on my mind though. I honestly feel like the tails are coming back. I feel like the tails are gonna come back. That would be probably the only thing I'm honestly excited for, because then I want to see what they do with that.
So all right. I'm glad you brought that up, because my thought on that is, so before, like when we were talking about the potentials of what could happen in this show, I was always mentioning how if they introduce Super Saiyan 4 in this show, it would have to be under some weird circumstances. Like, not even just on the principle of that they would have to forget about it with like some sort of like magic spell, and then they just never access it again. But now that we're seeing how obviously the majority of the show is going to take place in the demon realm, I'm starting to now think that maybe this is a form that is only accessible in the demon realm.
That's fucked. If that would be so weird though.
So yeah, it is that. So that would be really weird. Now, what would be?
Does the demon realm have a full moon?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That could change some shit.
That could change some shit. But here's the thing, right? So it's like, here's the part of Dragon Ball where now we get to sandbox, think outside of the box, and really start to formulate some ideas onto how we can get to things that we're obviously fantasy booking, aka Super Saiyan 4. Because don't even fucking kid yourself. You know you want to see that shit too.
Especially if they're going fucking kids. Like, fuck.
Like, the thing is, right, obviously people are making very direct connections to GT just off of the kid transformation shit, right? And the funny thing is, I think the official terminology used for this version of Kid Goku is not Kid Goku. It's Goku Mini, right? It's Mini Goku, Goku Mini, Vegeta Mini, because they got wished to turn into kids. So obviously, because we know what happens after, I imagine they'll get the Dragon Balls at the end and they reverse it. They all go back to normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So back to this whole demon realm thing. I feel like what's going to end up happening is the demon realm, because it's different, they're going to realize that within this realm, they're going to have similar effects to what the full moon does to them, where it emits the blood waves. So imagine if they're in the demon realm and it just feels like they're surrounded by that shit. Like they just feel the blood wave energy, because that's essentially what it does. And I'm connecting this to what you brought up, because I didn't even peep that. How when they turn into great apes, they also have pointy ears. So if we're going to look at the pointy ears as an indicator as to, oh, maybe this also connects to this demon realm side of the universe of Dragon Ball.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, if you think about it, when they transform into apes, you know, they're
it's
very
like
demon.
Yes, it's like they're bringing out their inner demons and whatnot, and it's coming forth. So that's a great line of thought to have. But again, that also makes me wonder it makes me wonder, because I think the tails will come back, right? Because again, this also, what you're saying, what I'm saying, it's intertwined. Because I'm saying that this might be something that's exclusive to the demon realm. And why? Because the demon realm will somehow allow the Saiyans to just sprout their tails back. Right? So let's say that happens. So naturally, what's the next thing that's going to take place? We actually might see Ozaru forms, which we have not seen in years, with good reason. There's no reason to. They have no tails, so they haven't done it. Now, I will make a side note, but let me just finish my point. So once that happens, and then, of course, because Shonen, they're going to, just much like with GT, they will gather themselves, and then from there, Super Saiyan 4, right? And then everybody will, I'm telling you, the internet will break. It will break.
That would be fire.
The Super Saiyan 4 will happen, okay? Whether it's called Super Saiyan 4 or not, they might call it something else. Now, Geekdom, he has been coining the term Super Saiyan Primal. Where the fuck you think he got that from? I've been saying Primal Instinct, right, ever since the Broly film. So, and I remember when it was either when I had him on here or when the one time he had me on his channel, he's like, I mentioned it again. He was like, yeah, I really like that name. So if they end up going with Super Saiyan Primal or however, I don't care what they call it. As long as they fucking look like Wukong,
that'd be pretty tough, bro.
It's gonna look tough as fuck. So the reason why it's gonna be like exclusive to the Demon Realm, and it's not gonna be a thing that obviously it's like, well, it'll explain why they haven't done it since. Well, simple. Have you seen them have their tails ever since Battle of Gods? It has to be something that they need the tails for. And that would explain perfectly why they have not even, like, accidentally tapped into it. Much like how Goku almost accidentally went Ultra Instinct against Broly when he was, powering up and shit like that. You could visibly see it. Like, yeah, right? So, the side note that I was going to try to make before, I just want to get the linear thought out. So, the way that I put it, where it's like the conditions for the Super Saiyan 4 that need to be met are what people would expect, tail first, then ape, then blah, right? I 100%, with all that in mind, I feel like I backed up my own speculation and theory with Broly. Because when we saw that movie, I had so many thoughts. To this day, still lives rent-free. I felt like, and I still feel like, Broly is the first character that showed that his power is so enormous and so out of control that he can tap into his Ozaru without his tail.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I think that by the time they jump back to the present, and now that Broly, in the manga at least, has been shown to be in more control of himself, I think he will still be the first one to do it unconditionally without the fucking tail. I'm telling you, it has to be Broly. He should have been the first one, but because of Daima and because of how they're telling the story, obviously Goku and Vegeta are going to be shown doing it in Daima.
Mm-hmm.
But going forward, when they bring that shit back, Broly's like, they're gonna go through some shit, and Broly's gonna have another moment, even through his controlling, and he's gonna rage, because that's the thing with that character. His power is enormous. He can't even. No one understands the full potential of his shit, and so again, he has been seen on screen to tap into his Ozaru state. All that power that you get as a fucking great ape, he already had.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took 2 trained, experienced Saiyans that have God Ki to fucking go away for an hour, learn fusion, come back, fuse, just to defeat him.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes to saying, like, you know, I love talking Broly because he's my favorite character, but like, the proof is right in the pudding. So hold on to those thoughts and everything that I've been saying, because I think that that's going to play a really important part later on to the story, in addition to like what we could potentially see with Daima, you know, developing in the coming months and whatnot, right? So this next person says, it's okay. I like the new lore and the animation is so tight. Be good to see where this goes. 100%.
Yeah.
Bro, the animation.
Animation is clean, bro.
All right. I will also say this.
That's what makes it watchable.
Wow, that's
outside
crazy.
of the lore.
I will tell you this right now. I've been an advocate for seeing them remake Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z for years. Okay, now that we've seen what Daima looks like, how they're animating it, and not even just how Daima looks, but it's the Dragon Ball Z moments.
Yeah.
Okay? It's the Dragon Ball Z moments that really wake people up and be like,
I'm honestly surprised that they didn't show the Super Saiyan 3 transformation against Fat Boo.
But they showed us Gotenks in Super Saiyan 3.
They did, but I'm just saying, like, the iconic flashback moments. You would figure if they went from Vegeta blowing shit up in Majin form,
yo, that was great.
You would think that the Super Saiyan 3 versus Fat Boo would happen, or like would be seen at least. That would have been fucking.
Yeah,
sick.
but
there was so many flashbacks.
The funny part is the same could be said about Vegito. They skipped over Vegito completely.
True.
Which I was surprised about, because obviously they weren't gonna recap everything.
Yeah, it was impossible. No.
Like there would have been enough time. And that's what made this first episode feel like a movie. Like straight up. It felt like a fucking film. And I was just like, Daima's fire. Daima, just on the principle alone of how it looks and how it's being presented, dude, this shit is great. Like, I am very pleased with it, very satisfied with it. I truly, the only complaint I have is that the way it ended, it was like on a super cliffhanger. Like, what the hell? Yeah. It's like the wish was made, they got turned into kids, and that's how it ended.
That's why I was just like, it's good.
Yeah,
fucking, we'll see what happens next episode, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Glorio is the next character that they're gonna introduce, which I think he was. You saw him in one scene, I'm pretty sure, like for like a second. Like he was like keeping his eye on what was going on. But yeah, man, like this, the way they're approaching Dragon Ball Daima, and it's funny because I kind of said this back when Super came back, or not came back, but when Super was introduced. Dragon Ball, when Dragon Ball Super was introduced, I got feelings of, like, things that I was saying was, like, something along the lines of, like, wow, like, Dragon Ball feels more anime than it ever has. And a part of that could be because going back even prior to Super, what were we used to watching? Dragon Ball Z in English.
Yeah.
We're used to watching what we grew up with, how it was on TV, on the orange bricks, like, you know, on disc. Like, we were used to those formats. So then having to transition from literally watching in English for literally our whole lives up until when Super comes, and then Super comes out, and we're just watching in Japanese, and then it's like you have an opening theme song and this and that. I was like, wow, like, this feels way more anime than what I'm used to for Dragon Ball. Obviously, of course, it's a fucking anime, but you guys hopefully understand what I'm trying to say.
I actually tried to see if I could switch it to English.
Really?
But I couldn't. So I was like, shit. You know, because, like, I wanted to hear, like, Vegeta's voice.
Yes. Yes.
In English, because he's funny as fuck.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Because I still, like, vividly, and, like, it's like, it's memory.
Exactly.
It's up there. So.
Dude, this is what I mean. And, like, and I'm not even going to lie, Geekdom is so passive aggressive when it comes to watching Dragon Ball in English or the original sub.
Yeah.
Because, like, here, matter of fact, I'm going to pull this up right now, okay? This morning, we were having an exchange, okay? Because he has been sharing that, what do you call that? He was sharing that there's a new fan edit for all the movies. So whenever you want to do that rewatch, there's an upscaled, like, color corrected, white balanced version of the original Dragon Ball Z films. So they look better than any home release you could buy.
What films?
Like all the Dragon Ball Z movies, like from Tree of Might all the way to Wrath of the Dragon, pretty much.
Oh, Wrath.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right, so check this out, right? So this is the exchange Geekdom and I had this morning. So so he's plugging how, like, he shared a clip of when Trunks was introduced and he fucks up Mecha Frieza, okay? And so in his post, he actually, like, replies to himself and ats me in it. So he goes, in the original post, he goes, the day Frieza, his father, and the world found out that Goku was not the only legendary Super Saiyan, and Frieza craps his pants. One of the greatest transformation scenes in history. Dragon Ball Z episode 120. And then he even plugs the music. Music by Kenji Yamamoto, Battle Point Unlimited, 1080p. And this shit looks fucking crisp. If you want me to show it to you, I could. But then like I said, he replies, the scene that got Uchi Gang to say that I'm gonna finally grow up and watch subs now, right? Of course, he fucking has to shit on me. So then I quote tweeted, and I said, high key need to watch it all subbed eventually, because naturally I would like to do that. Because the thing is, even though I'm a super advocate for watching things how you grew up watching them, and there's nothing wrong with that, the truth of the matter is, if you want to see Dragon Ball and Z in its most accurate, you have to watch it in Japanese, because the translation from the manga to the anime is the closest in comparison to how the directors back in the day tried to interpret things. And essentially, it changes how certain, I guess, themes, but how certain characters even act. Like, Goku in the original, right, in the Japanese version, he is not trying to come off as a hero. Okay, he's literally just trying to be a guy that wants to fight the strongest, but then obviously subsequently he's gonna defend his family and his friends. But in the English version, how we're used to seeing Goku is, I'm the protector of all that cry for help. Like you know,
yeah.
That's how we recognize him. But that's not accurate, which is crazy to think about that. But that's what we're used to. You know what I'm saying? And what we're used to is an inaccurate interpretation. And then unfortunately, it is what it is. But that doesn't mean that it just ruins it all. Because let me tell you something. Even calling out this moment with Trunks and when he was introduced and he turns into Super Saiyan, episode 120, Dragon Ball Z. Listen, that moment, I'm going to show it to you. And I might have to cut it out for the full episode, so I'm sorry, but I'm going to put this on the Patreon, so don't worry about it. But because there's a song used that apparently there was like some legal battle and like you can't even, like they don't even use it anymore because there was like some like discrepancy with like copyright because like Yamamoto, when he produced the song used for Trunks' transformation, apparently it came too close to like another song from like a band. I think that was like a German band or some shit. I forget exactly what it was. But like I'm bringing all this up because Japan had that, right? What did we have? Super Saiyan 3. To this day, Brandon, you know it. Y'all know it. I don't care what the fuck anybody says. I don't care if the sub is better, whatever. When we all were watching that on TV and Goku was explaining to Boo and Bobbity
that was clean.
How Super Saiyans work, and he goes, and this is an Ascended Saiyan. You could call it Super Saiyan 2. And we all go, we're all just like, no.
Yeah.
What the? And this, and
yeah, that was tough.
Do you understand how culturally impactful that fucking scene is? With the song accompanying that shit. Guess what? The Japanese version don't have that. We had that. And that moment is forever etched in everything. To this day, that song is being used. No matter how many times people want to shit on the English version, that is still immortalized. I would argue that shit has more precedence probably over any other hype moment that happened in Z, whether you combined I will argue that is comparable. You could put that up against Ultra Instinct. Cuz I could go all day about that shit.
Ultra Instinct was a different type of pressure.
It was. No, you're right. It was 100%. It was 100% different. It had there was a lot more different stakes on the line. Obviously, way more was on the line. But all I'm saying is I would argue with someone like, okay, compare the two. I will say this: Super Saiyan 3, longevity. It's just been around longer.
Yeah, longevity for sure.
It's been around longer. It's universally, unanimously, it is known. I feel like across more fans than comparing it to like the Ultra Instinct moment. But I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, that's fine too. But all I'm saying is that come on, we can't shit on that shit, right? So I said what I said, and then he goes, he quotes me, "I'll still always have love for what I grew up with watching," and he goes, "Battered housewife syndrome," and I'm like, man, stop hating. And then he goes, "Not hating at all. I watched Sesame Street the other day at my friend's house when I lost power while I watched their 2-year-old. So I can definitely relate on watching stuff made for little kids," with a smiley face.
I'm dead.
So again, he's so passive aggressive with it. He's like one of those gatekeeper ass people that even though he'll be in his own videos, he'll say it's like, oh, you watch what you watch. It's all cool. But to me, nah. He'll be like, nah, that shit's for kids. When you want to pull up your fucking pants, then you come and watch the sub. It is what it is, right? It's all in fun, so it's whatever. But yeah, that's how some people are. I'm not tribalistic when it comes to that shit, because there is so much room to enjoy all versions. I mean, look. There's people that fucking grew up with the fucking Latin version. They're watching it in Spanish.
That's kind of crazy.
And I'll tell you this right now. I've only watched maybe a small percent of Dragon Ball Z in Spanish by accident. Okay? And that was because back in the day, when I'd be at Yamors or Mimas, and I would be looking for something to watch on TV, and I would come across some random fucking Spanish network that was playing a Dragon Ball Z episode, and as soon as I started hearing them speak Spanish, I was just like, what?
What the fuck?
I instantly changed it because I was like, even as a Hispanic, I was like, no, this is not right, because I'm used to hearing it in English. I want to hear it in English. But you come to find out that the guy who voices Goku in the Spanish version, he is considered a god to the Latin Americans down in Mexico and Southern America, bro. Like, it's that serious, and I respect it, right? You can't knock what people grew up with, because not everybody grew up with the Japanese version. Not everyone grew up with the English version, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so moving on to going back to the Daima stuff. So yeah, we're saying the demons, Dragon Ball Daima is fire. And then this person says, I know it's because there aren't that many votes, because Lord knows the DBZ base isn't nearly cognizant or mature as an absolute unit to do it as a group, but the idea that no one is saying it wasn't good, but they just didn't like it. The not for me take, props to the first 30.
I was lost.
It's all right. It was
in the mid.
Yeah, that's okay. But yeah, do you want me to show you the Trunks moment that so you can experience what the Japanese version of that shit was like? It's actually a really hype moment. All right, let's get into it.
I fuck with that bass line.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I remember it being way more hype. I was expecting like a scream or something like that.
Yeah.
But nah, it's all good. But yeah, so that was the Trunks moment that you get that really cool song in Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like how did that make you feel? It was like, yeah,
It's like normal shit.
it's whatever, yeah.
I don't know if it would have made me feel better in English, but
The English version, I would actually.
I've watched that a million times.
That's a good comparison. We're gonna have to do that at a later time, because that is all the time we have left for this episode. So you already know what that means. Time for the Patreon shoutouts. Okay. Are you ready?
Yo.
Okay. Hopping right into it. If you want to hear your name shout it out at the end of these, patreon.com/full-power podcast. Let's get it. Giante Sheridan.
Yeah, Giante.
Anthony Parker.
Park that beat.
Lord Payne.
Penny Nut.
Worse than a demon.
Worse than a demon.
Dante TX.
TX.
Jerick Rivera.
Jerick Rivera.
Mr. Back Again Once Again.
Back again once again.
Odd Man Out.
Never cut that name.
Billy Hamble.
Billy Hamble.
Soul Awakens.
Wake your ass up.
Super Saiyan Saul.
Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan.
Travis Boyette.
Boyette.
Vegeta Uchiha.
Vegeta Uchiha.
But there's one more time. Let's get it right now with the. He's the only one. Land of the Rising Sun. He's our fucking boy. Yeah. Everybody stand up, give it up for our man. Juice. All right, whip up the fucking ice arrows. Hit him up. All right, guys. Last call. I mean, not really last call, but you already know. You know you want to hear your name shouted out. You know you want extra episodes. And you know you want that tier 3 content. You might be asking, tier 3? What's up with that? Well, let me give you a clip right now. What's happening, everybody? You already know what it is. It's what you're paying for. The tier 3, the Super Saiyan 3, the Thriving Ozarus. It's not meant to be an interview, but you already know what it is. We've been hyping it up. This is Kami's Cookout. Putting that extra love in my shit, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know about this, but you're gonna learn today. You're gonna learn today. So yes, that is Full Power Podcast over on the Patreon page, patreon.com/Full Power Podcast. Do not miss out on all the bonus stuff that y'all be getting very, very soon. In addition to all of these extra episodes. So without further ado, Brother Ooch, what do you have left for the people at home?
Same shit, you know what I mean? Stay fresh, stay clean, get yourself a nice fuck cologne. Stay fresh.
Oh, nice. Okay, very good. And that's for me, guys. Just keep on pushing. Find your purpose. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Health with the fitness, with your mind, the spirituality, and yeah, you know, when you find that purpose, you stick to it no matter how hard it gets. I literally came straight from work after a 12-hour day, and I hit the record button. I'm still in my work clothes. I just changed my hat. That's really it. So we got to do what we got to do to get it going, all right? So without further ado, last reminder that obviously at the time this came out, episode 2 of Dragon Ball Daima has released. So make sure you are not only checking this channel back for any potential polls or live streams or discussions or anything like that, but make sure you are also checking out my channel for the reactions and for anything else Daima related and whatnot. And I will be hopefully trying to get this whole Sparking Zero situation situated, and maybe hopefully I'll have my fucking PS5 version so we can get to back on that episode battles and whatnot. So yes, so as always, it's been your boy Ooch, the Lethal Iceman, brother Ooch. Make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves. May the power protect, keep it locked, loaded right here on this podcast. Stay safe, stay clean, and stay the hell inside. And we'll see y'all next time.